Hello my dear YouTuber friends, I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. Paris Landmark City Pack has at last released. I've been waiting for this one. It's been released for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and here's my review of it. Okay, so with Paris landmarks added to my flight simulator library, I've just taken off from Charles de Gaulle. You can see from this right map here, that's Charles de Gaulle Airport. I'm heading towards Paris Centre, but I thought I would show you some of the scenery leading up to the centre with Orbx scenery add-on packages and many other add-on packages. In fact, it's not just the city centre that's modelled and revamped. It's often the surrounding areas. So let's actually just jump outside and you can see if you fly the default Paris area, you can see here that there's a lot more bespoke and individual and realistic building types added, sort of areas and landmarks and goodness knows what. It was similar with Sydney package and actually London landmarks package as well. The surrounding areas seem to have had an uplift in the scenery as well, and a revamp in fact, just to make them look more realistic and then blend in with the centre of Paris. So I thought I'd just show you that first. So let's get back in the cockpit and I'll bring you back when I get nearer to the centre. So now as we start approaching Paris Centre, city centre, you can see a lot more buildings are there than were there in the default version. Looks like we're flying over some kind of football field. Let's get outside to see. So either football or rugby. Somebody who knows the area more, please inform me in the comments below. But there's a stadium coming up here. That's the sort of main attraction of Paris, the Basilica, Eiffel Tower, Louvre, and goodness knows what, all the different museums. You can see there's a lot more points of interest, we'll get there later. I believe this part here is like a commercial district, so I want to show you this part as well. Similar possibly to the Canary Wharf of London, you have like a commercial district away from the main attractions, as it were. Or the tourist attractions. So here we are, we're flying over a stadium. There's lots of little detail. This is brilliant. Yeah, it looks like football, doesn't it? It's a football stadium. There you are. Leading up to the centre and in the centre itself. This is wonderful. This is really what I've been waiting for. Now we're not far from that sort of, I believe it's a district part. Sorry, a commercial part of Paris Centre. Or commercial centre perhaps. See, look at that though. Just the different buildings they've added. Sort of bespoke buildings. Oh. Yeah, I'm gushing again. I love these scenery packs. Some people don't like the Orbx scenery packs. You're missing out if you don't try this. Honestly. This is brilliant. So we're coming up now to the commercial... keep saying it, I think this is the commercial centre. I should have looked this up before I started flying, I know. But it doesn't matter, you can come and tour along with me. Talk about tour. Have a toot or tour first. Coming up there. So like I said, once we've flown around here, see all these individual buildings. I remember that. I've visited Paris a few times. I remember that building specifically. There's buildings that I keep seeing as I'm flying around that I think, oh, I remember that. I stayed in a hotel near there. So here we go now. Let's try not to crash into the buildings and give you a proper tour. Maybe just bring the speed down a little bit just so we Don't zoom past it too quickly. I'll get the drone camera out later to give you a close-up of some of these landmarks. Let's get outside. Look at that. Some wonderful buildings here. I was about to crash, so I've just increased my altitude there. Look at this. I remember some of these buildings when wonderful. When I visited Paris. There's going to be a lot of people flying through that square. Or that square sort of structure. I'll be doing that myself later. Wonderful. Oh, that was close. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, let's get back in the aircraft before there is an accident. And what we'll do now, we'll zip around the centre. Now, with all these Orbx scenery add-on packages, there's a lot of buildings to load, so performance may suffer a little bit. I found it particularly worse in Sydney, downtown Sydney. It could take a hit on the performance of your simulator. You'll see the stutters, it's pretty much loading in the sort of all the sort of building files and scenery files and goodness knows what, because there's a lot going on here. Once they are loaded in, it's pretty smooth. I'll still be getting between 30 and 40 frames per second, even on my mid-spec PC. Again, I'll link my video I did when I got Flight Simulator 2020, how it performs on my mid-spec PC. It's just what I'm using at the moment. It's what I have. And generally, look at that. It doesn't perform too badly at all. I gush over these areas. This is what I've been waiting for. After London landmarks and then Sydney landmarks, well, actually after London landmarks, this is the landmark package I wanted most. I want to see a New York landmarks package as well, hopefully coming out soon. That's not been announced, I don't think, but I would love to see it. And you've got all these sorts of typical Parisian buildings. I'd love to visit Paris and get lost in the side streets and discover things like tobacco shops and unusual sorts of nicks and knacks. Knacks and nicks. Nicks and knacks, isn't it? Possibly. What are we flying over here now? Let's just take a... let's hope I don't crash. This will end our flight otherwise. Nope. Look at that. I remember that building as well. Incredible. It's part of the fun when they do a scenery package and they have all the buildings there that's typically in Paris, in this case, and you fly past them. It just brings up so many fond memories of me actually visiting. Once this COVID nonsense is over, I would love to go back to Paris. It's going to be one of my first places I'm going to fly out to, out of the UK. I just love spending a weekend or a few days in Paris centre in a hotel and then just visiting all the famous landmarks and side streets, like I said. Anyway, there's the Eiffel Tower. Nicely modelled. It was nicely modelled in the default version. Look, you've got all these surrounding areas. This is what Paris looks like. Now with this landmarks package, it's really brought it to life. And then you start flying out, you start to see more buildings, more and more buildings and structures that they've added in the surrounding areas of Paris. Wonderful. Let's just fly around once again, and then we'll cut to actually installing this from Orbx, because I did come across an issue trying to install it, but I got around it. So in case other people are having that problems, I'll cut to that later. If you want to jump to that part, I've put segments in the timeline so you can jump to which part you would like. Look at that. Brilliant. And like London landmarks, these landmark packages from Orbx are updated periodically. So from time to time, they update these landmark packages. London landmark packages has been updated a few times, I believe, into its recent form, which is absolutely brilliant. So it's very likely, if anything's missing, if you're looking at this thinking, well, this building's missing, that building's missing, it's very likely it will be added in the future. For the price, it was under £9. I do not regret getting this. This, again, it's an absolute steal. Particularly if you're as in love with Paris as I am. Absolutely wonderful. Let's just fly around here, fly past the centre, just to give you a tour of whatever buildings. See, more bespoke buildings. They just pop up all over the place. Brilliant. And more out there. You can see in the distance different buildings I'll be going to investigate later. Love it. Absolutely love it. This might become my test base. I'm using London City, maybe. I can use this as my test base when I do my videos. If I'm testing something out, I usually fly around one area. Probably do it in this area now. Pantheon's been added as well, fantastic. Notre Dame as well. Wonderful. And various train stations I've noticed. I'm not sure if I've flown over a train station yet, but I know I've noticed a couple of them. The main ones of them. Oh, look at that. Notre Dame. Fantastic. Keep saying fantastic. It really is. They've added so much more, and it was so important for Paris. It just takes Flight Simulator 2020, which was already incredible looking, to a whole new height. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You can't lose on this for the price. Just go out and buy it. Tell you what, that will do. Let's jump to the little downloader problem that I had. A fix for the downloader in case you have the same issues. So here's a troubleshooting guide for people who are having problems downloading or installing the Paris City Pack from Orbx Central. Orbx Central is like a program you run outside of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and it installs the scenery into the simulator for you. But I did find a problem with this specific landmark pack. This will probably be fixed in the future, but if you're getting this day one like me, you may have to follow this guide. If you click on install, now if you try and install to Microsoft Flight Simulator, I won't do it this way, but if you've done that, try and install it directly into the Flight Simulator, it will come up with errors, or it may do, saying that certain files hadn't installed properly. Click on verify files, and they still wouldn't install. The only way I could find to install this properly is by installing it via my library. Now if you haven't set that up, go to this sort of icon here, which is settings, so top right, you can see my mouse here, click on that, click on libraries, and if you don't have a library, just click on create new library. It will create a new library and sort of uses your name and Orbx library. So that's how you create a library. Once you've done that, go to my products again, Paris City Pack, click on install, and I'll say my library. So now this will download and install, and I'll come back in a moment because there is an extra step to take. Okay, now as you can see, it's installed, but it's saying installation errors again. 8 folders this time failed to extract. So click continue there, and this time click on verify files, and hopefully we should get another in a moment. Let these files scan first. It won't take a moment, hopefully. There you go, and it starts downloading an extra file. That simply didn't happen when I tried to install it straight into the simulator. Like I say, this may be fixed in the future. So if you're watching this well after this video is released, this may be fixed. But for now, I found this is the only way I could install it properly. Okay, so I'll let that finish installing. Once that's done, it should all be installed. There should be no problems. If there is, I'll come back. But now, let's go to the drone camera and show you some of those sights in Paris close up.